So earlier this week, I had talked about how we have trouble with our kids, teenagers mostly, and Google says the most exhausting stage of parenting is 0 to 4, and that's only because of the diapers, constant supervision, sleep deprivation, and feedings. But I'm gonna say only because I've had experience with all stages. I'm gonna say parenting a teen, and that's just because it's a big change. You want to apprentice them into being a responsible adult and trying not to abandon them because sometimes we do get frustrated with them about the decisions that they make. Now, when they're first becoming a teenager, 15, 14, actually, 15, 16, they go through stages. And, some of the things like, I talked about earlier, I leave you and you act as if I wasn't there. Yes. And then when I come back, you're fully dependent on me to make sure that things happen. But that's what I need you to make sure that you do all the time. So that means I shouldn't have to tell you to take the trash out because you've been doing it for years. I shouldn't have to tell you to walk the dogs and feed the dogs and, be a good adult and, don't drive fast and don't drive sloppy, you know. If you were driving me around, would you drive like that? Those kind of things, And I think sometimes they make so many decisions based off of their peers because they don't want to look like a simp, no cap. But I feel like they should think about their parents because, we worry about them when they're not in our presence. And if you're going to make a bad decision, I really just feel like you guys should think about it first because sometimes you guys are put in those situations where, yeah, you do have to make a decision quick. But I feel like if you make a decision based off of what your friends think and you make it fast, it's not a good move. Sometimes you got to sit on stuff. Doesn't matter if it's a day or a week. It's something that you considered that you need to make sure it's precious and it's the right way. And, that's why I think with teenagers, they do things so impulsively that they just want to just please everybody else instead of pleasing themselves. And then in the long game, because I'm looking further ahead, they end up messing up things that could have been stopped in the beginning. So I know we want to let go and, let them crash and burn, but sometimes, but you don't want them to get their feelings hurt. And, especially when it's dangerous, don't let them crash and burn when you feel like it's danger because there's going to be certain situations where they're going to make decisions that you don't like. And right now, I'm going through it. These teenagers, they are really kicking my butt. Just don't understand walking past trash and because they didn't drop it, they don't pick it up. What is that? Or if there's a dish in the sink, I don't wash dishes. It's not my job. So what are y'all gonna do when y'all start working? So your supervisor tell you to pick up something, what you gonna tell them that's not my job? And then you get on the bad list. Then you get in trouble. This culture of people just they feel so entitled. Is it because we loving on them too good? What is it? I need to know. I don't mean to love on you good. I want to make sure that I give you something that my parents may not have given you. So my parents didn't always tell me every day that I love them, but I always tell my kids I love them because I really do. When they're not with me, I miss them. Yes, all the time. But why are you guys just being so careless? Like, what are you going to do when you become an adult? Like, I see all those reels all the time where the parents go over the house and they drop trash all over the floor and open up chip bags and leave them on the counter and leave the refrigerator open and drink all the drinks up. I mean, the only way that they're going to understand is if it happens to them. But, kids understand that your parents are really trying to work with you. Because if you knew better, you'd do better. Because the way that I see things, and I know that I'm not a bad parent, you're a bad kid because you're not following the rules and following the directions. And you want me to buy you things and take you places, make plans in my car like you own it, like you pay the insurance on it. I mean, what is this? Anytime I tell you no, it means no. Back in the day, there was no such thing as ADHD and ADD. No, it was called the belt. That's what it was. It wasn't giving them a chance. There's always going to be that kid that cuts up. And yeah, they might have a condition, but they still need to be functional. There's no excuse for bad behavior. And it's too much of rewarding bad behavior that has got to stop. You get things with me because you earn them, not because you feel like you need to have them. That's all I got to say, man. I know I haven't been on the line in a long time. I've been, contenting it up, doing my basketball, and just trying to take a feel out there. A couple more adventures I've been doing, and venturing out on certain things. So I'll be back on the line soon. But just wanted to say hey to everybody, and peace out.